Do old calendarists have sacramental grace? I personally believe that some of them do because of my experiences. I've noticed in my Orthodox life that when I receive communion, I have the sensation of feeling the grace of God. The best way I know how to describe it is it feels like every cell in my body is in ecstasy after I commune. And I have felt that with old calendars. I no longer recognize the old calendarist movement. I believe we should follow the old calendar, but I don't recognize the groups that call themselves old calendarists. But I do think that some of them may have sacramental grace, and it's important that you follow what your spiritual father says. I'm just giving my personal opinion. The most intense experience I've ever had of this feeling of all my cells being in ecstasy is when I communed in a GOC-Pavlos church. I traveled close to 3,000 miles. Okay, I had to go through a lot to get there. I gave a good confession. This is back when I was an old calendarist. I gave a good confession, and then after communion, I had this feeling of every cell in my body being in ecstasy. And I even told the priest about it, and he thought it was legitimate. And he drove me to the bus stop. So I went from the bus to the airport. But when he drove me to the bus stop, I remember standing there and feeling this experience intensely. And I felt like I could just ascend into heaven right then and there. Okay, it's hard to describe this feeling. It felt like every cell in my body was in ecstasy. The Protestants got this doctrine wrong. They are missing out. The Eucharist in Orthodoxy is the body and blood of Christ. Now, this was a GOC Old Calendars group, so why did this happen? My speculation is that they may have grace, sacramental grace, or that God allowed the communion I received to be the body and blood of Christ because of what I had to go through to get there. Maybe it was a unique experience. He allowed it for me uniquely because of what I had to go through to get there. It was tremendous. Okay, so this is my personal opinion and my personal experience, but again, it is important that you follow your spiritual father in mainstream Orthodoxy. Okay, but it's incredible. I've always had this experience when receiving communion, but it was the most intense with the GOC Pavlos Church. You Protestants, you got this wrong. Okay, the Eucharist is the body and blood of Christ in Orthodoxy. You're missing out, and you need to avoid those heretical teachers who deny this doctrine of the Orthodox Eucharist. Okay, so these are my thoughts I wanted to share, and I hope you have a good day.